Hello there, Maverick traders. It is September 11th, 2025. Now, this is a day of remembrance. And on this day every year, I like to tell the story from a trader's perspective of what happened on September 11th, 2001. I'd been trading for about 4 years, and I went into the Maverick office early as I always did. And right around 9:10 a.m. Eastern Time, all the quotes went off. So I was looking at my screen and all the quotes just froze. They all went off. And we're like, what in the world is happening? And it took about 10 minutes to where we thought maybe our internet went down or there was some technical problem. And then we saw the news on the TV and it was horrible. It was a very, very dark day. And I remember that the stock market, that was a Tuesday, and the stock market was closed for the rest of the week. So the stock market was closed for 4 days. And it didn't open up until the next Monday. Now, the market had already been breaking down prior to September 11th. It had broken down below the 50-day moving average, and we were all short in the office. It doesn't feel good to make money that way. I remember we all talked about it, and we all thought, this is terrible. Let's donate some money. Let's do something. The markets opened up, and they crashed. They tanked. But then they recovered. But it was just a really dark day, and I tell that story because probably right now, if you're fairly new to trading, you can't imagine that they might have to shut the stock market down for a week where you literally couldn't make any trade and where you literally didn't know where it was going to open up or when it was going to open up. Just a reminder that anything can happen at any time. And that's why you have to trade kind of paranoid that these things can happen. If something like this happens, are you going to survive it with your current positions? So just use this as a day of remembrance, of course, for what happened, but also just a reminder that on any single given day, the market can open down 10, 20, 30, 40%, or open up, probably not 10, 20, 30, 40%, but just always keep risk in mind to make sure you're never in a situation where you can lose it all. In this session, we're going to go through the news of the day. We're going to talk about some of the market internals, and I've got 2 bulls and a sideways trade for you.
All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. This video has been released to the public after a delay required by our compliance department. Maverick traders receive this market recap immediately, along with real-time trading support and resources. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that backs professional stock and options traders with firm capital. Our traders keep 70 to 80% of the profits they generate. If you're ready to become a professional trader, click the apply link in the video description below. Let's break down what happened in the markets today.
So on that happy note, let's get into the market. The market had a nice up day today. Now I want to talk about this because I've had conversations with traders, and some of these traders are pretty frustrated out there because there was tons of bad news out there today. Tons of bad news. But what happened? Oh, we still closed at all-time highs. We got a CPI report that was a little bit hot. The headline number was 1/10 higher than expectations. That's not what anyone wants to see. The market was on edge about inflation, and the futures tanked off of this news. The futures, I shouldn't say tanked, but we were up, and then we actually lost all of our gain. Including the CPI report, we also got jobless claims that were the highest in 4 years. Now think about that. We got higher than expected inflation. We got worse than expected job numbers. The market was a little shaky, and then the market just went up all day long. All day long, and you can see the final numbers. Dow up over 1%, S&P up almost 1%, Russell up 2%. Commodities were weak, but everything else was strong. And take a look at the internals of this. 3 out of every 4 stocks went up, and the FANG stocks weren't the ones carrying all the load. Take a look at the heat map here. You can see that the FANG stocks were all flat. Microsoft, flat. Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Google, all flat. And look at the rest of the market. It is showing you that there was buying across the board. Here we have, again, just a breakout of this ascending triangle pattern. We got a breakout. Again, you can be bearish. You can feel bearish if you want. You just can't be bearish in your trading. This is a clear bull market. One of the hallmarks of a bull market is that it ignores bad news for a very long time. And the strangest thing is, and I've seen this happen so many times, bad news comes out, market goes higher. Bad news comes out, market goes higher. Everyone's like throwing their hands in the air saying, what is going on? And then one day in like a month or 2 months, bad news comes out and the market falls. And the market's like, oh my gosh, it's bad. And the bears are left scratching their heads saying, it's been bad news for 3 months. The problem is the bears, they've missed the 10% run. The traders that are just trading technicals, they'll get in the 10% run and then they can get short on the way down. So that's a reminder. We're traders. We follow technicals. I know you may not feel bullish, but the market is absolutely bullish. And one of the big reasons it's so bullish is here's the bond market. We now are trading down at 4%. We were at 4.6% about 3 months ago. So the bond market has effectively cut interest rates by almost 0.75%. That is significant because interest rates in the real world don't follow what the Fed does. It follows what the bond market does. So right now, people who've been waiting to buy houses, they're getting a much better interest rate. Businesses for loans, much better interest rate. Yes, I know there's lots of negatives out there, but right now the market likes this number. And actually there's now a 100% chance of a rate cut. And there's even a small percent chance that we're going to get a 50 basis rate cut in the next meeting here coming up. So look, I don't care if you feel bullish. I don't care if you feel bearish. I don't care how you feel. You just need to be bullish. And that's what I've been saying for the last, probably since April. Probably since we bottomed out in April and went back above the 50-day moving average. I've been saying, look, yeah, I think tariffs are dumb and I don't think they're going to work. But guess what? We're above the 50-day moving average. You have to be long. So let's talk about it. Let's be long. Let's keep going. At some point, yes, this market will stop going up. But guess what? That wasn't today. Here we have IVZ, Invesco. This is an international finance company. This little group has been very, very strong lately. And you can see we had a 3-month base, and we're now pushing out of that base. This is only going to have monthly options. So you're either going to need to do a diagonal call spread, which will be something like a 20, 22.50 with the short expiration of next Friday, or you're going to have to go out to October and do something like a 22.23, 22.24. If there's a 22.50 strike, that's what you're going to want to use on the long side here. So IVZ in the financials. And then we have another one in the financials, the Cargill Group. You can see, same thing. 3-month base, breaking out, looking really strong. I don't see any reason why this thing doesn't move up to 70. If there's $5 strikes, then it's a 65, 70. That's going to be about a 50-50, 1-to-1 risk reward on that. Again, just looking really strong. There's endless amounts of bullish trades out there. There's just endless amounts. You get to pick how volatile. You get to pick how crazy. I'm picking like medium to lower volatility names, as I feel like we're a little extended here. But the people who are playing high volatility, they're actually doing much better. But when the market turns, those are going to turn a lot harder than the ones I'm playing. Remember, you get to determine where you deploy your capital. On the sideways note, Intel, this has been on my sideways list for a while. And this is a little bit more bullish than just sideways. We have rising moving averages. So I don't want to be totally sideways here. I want to do something like a targeted butterfly. I want to let this thing float up. So I'm looking at something like a 24, 26, 28. Looking to see it float up into this area, into this profit window. So we're right on the bottom end of the profit window with the 24, 26, 28, going out 2 weeks. That should be about the right amount of time for this to float up into that 25 and a half, 26 area. There are 50-cent strikes on this, so you could do a 25.50 as well. If you don't want to be that bullish, then do a 25.50 right around that resistance area. Let's talk about tomorrow. We've had a strong week this week, and I don't see any reason that it stops. There's a saying that bull markets don't die of old age. To really have you understand this market, it's simply about liquidity. That's all it is. It's liquidity. If there's more money going into the stock market than coming out, it goes up. That is, throw away everything you think and know. I want you to picture that. The only reason it's going up is that more money's coming in. And is there any reason that tomorrow, next week, that's still not going to be the case? Are people losing their jobs? Are people going to stop putting money into investments? Not unless something crazy happens. People are going to keep plowing money into their retirement accounts, into stock accounts, into trades. It's only when that ends when we get into the bear market. I'm looking out thinking I can't see any reason for that to end at this point with the data we have. At some point it will. And then as traders, our job is to recognize it as fast as we can and get neutral and then get short. But until then, this market is a bull market and it will keep going until it stops. I know that sounds like a genius thing to say. It actually is, if you think about it. That's your mentality. Hey, you're going to throw your hands up in the air and say, hey, it's going to keep going up till it stops. Let me play the game while the game is going. And then when it stops, I'll stop playing the game and I'll play a different game. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody.